drag, it was one of those things that kind of just happened by accident. It was like, I felt like in my soul, since I was a kid, I'd always sang in choirs. I'd performed with Michael Jackson. I was in the Name of the Father. You know, I didn't really think about it when I was a kid. I didn't think I'm a gay kid. I just always thought that I was different. So I didn't know what it was at the time. So I think a lot of people are a bit like that. I just knew that I wasn't like the other kids, and I'm still not like the other kids nowadays. So it was only when I got into my teenage years that I realised, hang on, I'm not just different, there's more to this. And, you know, as soon as I came out at 17, and as soon as I came out, I was only out maybe a year, and then I started doing drag, which opened up a completely other side to the scene for me. So this is all I've really known. I've never been arrogant or in love with myself in any respect. I still don't by any means think I'm good looking. I'm just not that kind of person. But I know I'm a really good person, and I know I'm a really charismatic person. And I look for that in other people. You know, I'm not one of these people that was ever into looks. But when I was growing up, I wasn't really kind of sexually aware, so I didn't really fancy people because I was quite a late bloomer, so I didn't really get it if I was to like boys or girls. I kind of just like people. And then when it hit me like a ton of bricks. And then that's when I kind of start going on the scene, and I start meeting gay guys, but I never kind of saw myself as sexy. And I think I don't, people that do find themselves sexy, they don't really appeal to me. I grew up in Grand Canal Dock. It's Grand Canal Dock now. It used to be Ringsend. And the locality, it was very run down. There wasn't much going on. So they used to make movies there. They used to recreate Belfast in the 70s because the houses were quite similar. So they shot a lot of movies based around the Troubles of the North around there. So we were always picked up for extras, and our streets were decorated like war-torn Belfast in the 1970s. And because of that, we lived near Lansdowne Road, which is now the Aviva. And when Michael Jackson came to perform in Ireland, I think it was in 1993, 92, I can't remember, it's a bit foggy. But every city that he went to local schools and asked, he needed children to be part of the Heal the World, the act. So they came to our school and they picked 30 boys, 30 girls, and we all had to learn Heal the World. And then what was it? Yeah, so basically all summer we learned the song, so we'd meet up, we'd all do kind of core voice practice and all this. And then on the day, we got picked up in a tour bus, we whizzed through, which was incredible. I was in third class, so I think I was 8 at the time. So it was, you know, I was a tiny child. Michael Jackson was my idol. This is like, you know, he was at the height of his career. Yeah. This was mega. We got whizzed through. And when we got in, it kept in a holding area. And then his kind of PA or somebody came out and said, Michael only wants the small kids. So we can't have everyone. So there was just this look of like, it was like X Factor boot camp. It was like, there can only be so many. And everybody was looking at everyone. And I remember they took out measuring tape and they had to measure everyone. So they measured every person individually, and I was exactly 4 foot at the time because they wrote everything down. I was exactly 4 foot, and my best friend at the time I think was 4'2". So we were cool. We were in the yes pile. But all the kids, you know, the kids that would kind of call you gay in school or you know, just give you a hard time, they were all in the group as well, but they were tall. And they were out, which was like karma fucking personified. Like, bye Felicia, ta-ta. So I just remember they were sobbing and crying, and I've never felt so happy. all got put in costume, and then we had to go boy, girl, boy, girl. We were all backstage, and the globe came from out of the ground, and then we were kind of led out. We had these little mics on, and we were just led out. Michael Jackson kind of led the group, so we all just walked around the globe and kind of held hands and sang. But when I went on stage, like not one word came out of my mouth because I was just in. You're 4 foot, 8 years old. You don't expect to see like a sea of people, and I could nearly see my house from the stage, which was insane. And it's times like that I wish I had like an iPhone, or you know, there's no photographic evidence, and it's one thing that kills me. But I always have it in my head when I was walking around that globe, seeing those horrible bully kids in the pit of that concert, crying their eyes out. I just thought this is where I'm meant to be, on this stage, and fuck the haters.
Get down.
I got an XXXL t-shirt as a token, like a tour t-shirt. It was like a dress. It was actually like a full moo. And when we were moving house, like years later, my mom threw it away because she said, "Oh, you'll never wear this." But I was like, that was all I had. That was my only proof of evidence. But it's gone. So you just have to take my word for it. It did happen. It's a bit too far fetched to make up, to be honest. When I first started drag, it was 2002. There was no YouTube. There was barely anyone had the internet. There's no Wi-Fi. So we were very limited here in Ireland to what we could get our hands on. There was no makeup tutorials. There was no one to kind of say, don't wear that metallic green eyeshadow. Don't wear those rotten tights. Don't do this. Don't do that. All the things like that people have now. So I kind of had to find my own way. And I started doing drag for a joke. It literally was supposed to be a one-off, kind of. It was just for fun. And then after I did it first, as soon as I did it, I thought there's something in this because I was very particular about how I wanted it to look. I wanted everything to be perfect. I had two dancers, and It was a joke, but it was still. I didn't want to be a joke. I wanted it to be fun. So I did the act, and it was for Out West in Mayo, which is still going today. It's like a group for gay and lesbian people in the west of Ireland that it's their social outlet. So they would have two monthly events. And I was just their entertainment because I had no budget at all. So I knew the guy that was running it, and I said, I'll come and do a thing. I did a one-off, and then straight afterwards, everyone kept saying, "Oh my god, that was amazing, that was great, that was this." And I kind of just thought, oh, people are just, just blowing smoke up your ass. It's just, it is what it is. But then this man came up to me and said, how much do you charge? I have a club in Limerick. I'd love you to come and do something. And I was like, oh, people get paid for this? I was like, I'm quids in. I did everything except Dublin. So I think I did Galway, Limerick, Mayo. I think I did Cork. I did everything except Dublin. And then I felt like this was becoming more than just a joke, because it was, one thing was relevant. So I felt like the universe was kind of trying to tell me something. As I kind of got more reaction from people, more work, more gigs, more opportunities, then I started to get more into the look and who was Davina. She was a character, and I wanted it to be clear to people. I wanted it to be different to everyone else. And when I started, I was 19, so I still was a kid. So I had a very young, fresh kind of attitude. It was doing pop songs, and it was just different to what other people were doing at that time. And then I've always been inspired since I was a teenager, like by big bombshells like Pamela Anderson, or like Raquel Welch, and Marilyn Monroe. Big boobs, blonde hair. That's always I've always admired that in TV characters and all this kind of stuff. So it was the next step for me to kind of emulate that, but it would happen kind of slowly. But then when it happened, and then there was no going back. There was at that time really There was a very small group of people. There was Panty, Veda, Shirley, Temple Bar. There was Dizzy and Dolly were around, and Annie Balls. They were kind of the kind of 6 headline queens. And they still are. They're still there. Everyone is still there. Everyone's still doing their own thing. Things have just changed so much because of culture and social media, and now everything's kind of changed. But I still feel like, the 6 girls are there, and I kind of feel like I'm up there with them as well. It's like I've made my place.
It's myself, Davina, and Dolly Grip, and we're here live in Toronto, and they have something that they want to say to you. Toronto, what have you got to say?
Well, see, I met all the girls through the show and through doing the show, and I get on great with everyone, like all the kind of the big queens, and I have different relationships with each of them, and over the years my relationship with each of them has changed as I've changed. I just love Dolly. Like, we're very similar but very different in a lot of ways, and we just have a good chuckle together, and she just makes me laugh, and I think I make her laugh, and she laughs at me. So, well, I laugh at her too, but sure.
Waking in the rubble, walking over glass. Neighbors say we're trouble. Well, the time has passed.
She did before when she was in Dublin. She was in Dublin twice. She was here before she won the Eurovision, like maybe 5 months before she entered. She came to Bingo and she performed and she hung out with us, and she was adorable, like the sweetest queen ever. Super sweet.
You wouldn't know me at all today. From the fading light of life.
I think there's a lot of drag queens, I think, that are kind of shy or kind of, introvert. But when they go on stage, that's expression of art. That's their, inner kind of goddess just coming out on stage. So I think that's what it is with Conchita. I think that fire and that voice is like incredible. So that just explodes and comes out of her. At the heart, you can't fake being that nice. She's just genuinely a really nice person. Adorable.
From the fading light of light, rise like a phoenix out of the ashes, seeking rather than vengeance. Retribution, you were won. Once I'm transformed, once I'm reborn.
They either have the fire in their belly or they don't. And I've ran a show for the last, it's actually been kind of since 2010. I do it every 2 years usually, because I kind of let new people come along, and it's called The Divine Apprentice.
Yes.
And it's like where I search for new talent and see who's out there and see what the drag scene is kind of churning up this time. So I meet lots of those queens lots of times, and they want to come on the show, and after they finish the Divine Apprentice, if they get knocked out, if they don't win, they will ask to do the show, and I love to see people have that fire and that hunger to do it, because I was the hungriest bitch ever. I wanted to make it. I really wanted to be in a Divine, to be successful. I wanted it to work. I didn't think ever it was going to get me to a stage where I can pay my bills and I can pay my rent, and it's my full-time job, where I actually quit my job. I worked for Mac for many years, and I was able to quit my job and focus on this, because this is my art, and this is what I love. Like, I love putting makeup on me. I don't like putting makeup on she, so it took a long time to get where but a lot of hard work, a lot of unpaid gigs, a lot of horrible gigs, a lot of disastrous gigs. You couldn't even imagine the shit I've done to be sitting here on this couch drinking a glass of Prosecco now. To be honest, and this is, it's not as glamorous as it even seems, but it's like, I've worked really hard to do this, and I think queens now, they have YouTube and they have Instagram and Snapchat, and they all think that it's so easy. I'll do my makeup like this. just because you can put makeup on your face, bitch, does not make a star. You need charisma. You need people to have an affinity with you. And some people just don't have that.
Mm.
And it's very hard to kind of say that to someone, I don't think this is going to work for you. Because that's just my opinion as well. You know, I might think I'm not really into their drag, but it's ultimately up to them to prove it to themselves. Because lots of shit does work that I kind of think, I'm not sure about that. But, you know, I've had 3 apprentices now. My first one was won by Filthy Gorgeous, who was doing drag actually at the same time as me, a drag king, which was very interesting because it's coming at it from a female perspective. And she had got no breaks on the kind of mainstream gay scene. She'd done a lot of burlesque events, and there was just nothing. She was such a great king, and I'd seen her perform. I'd seen Mia, is her name, Filthy Gorgeous. I'd seen Mia perform so many times, and when she won, I was delighted because it gave my show an extra element. And she came on board as a guest, and we could do things like duets and, you know, boy and girl things, and kind of Jay-Z and Beyonce moments and all this kind of stuff that nobody else was doing. And, you know, Filthy is really tall and handsome, and it just worked. Then in my second apprentice, Candy Warhol was very alternative, very different to me. But that bitch is hungry. And she will go off and she will do her own thing. And she's in Cork now, but she's running club nights and master classes, and she released music, and she's just doing her. And the last time, Chantel Perez, who's a Brazilian queen, she won. And I adore Chantel because she has that fire in her belly that
It's beautiful.
that I have. You know, it's like when we get on stage, it's like a monster. It's like, I'm going to kill this stage. And that's why she won. And she works really hard. And every time, you know, she reminds me so much of me, except in this modern day, it's like she has things like Instagram and YouTube, and I'm there to ask makeup advice and all this kind of stuff. So it's amazing to see kind of different drags coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ireland, and like, you know, I see myself being based in Ireland forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just love it here, and I love the people, and I love my life, and I would love to visit America and kind of see shows, and I love to perform everywhere, but I love coming home. It just, like, I feel after coming back from Sydney, I just feel recharged now. Like, I'm doing a show after this, and I can't wait to get at it because that stage is my home, and it's like the park I piss in.
Hi everybody, I'm here at Vicar Street live on stage, and please remember, Friday, May 22nd, a referendum for marriage equality in Ireland, and you all have to
Well, I think it's incredible that Ireland, this tiny little island, you know, in the northern hemisphere, is the first country in the world to actually have it voted in by the nation with quite a high ratio. And, you know, there you see countries like Australia, that's an actual continent, who are still struggling for this. It makes me very proud to be Irish in this day and age. And there's no going back now. Like, we have it, and we should have always had it. But I feel like since homosexuality was decriminalised in 1993 in Ireland, this country has moved so fast, and that's because of amazing organisations and amazing spokespeople since even before that time, you know, like back in the days of the Pink Triangle and all that. Like, Ireland, I'm very proud to be Irish and how far we've come in such a short space of time, because no other country, I think, has come this far. When I started Thursday Thursday back in 2009, the George was dead. It was in a recession. There was hardly anyone kind of out and about, and I had to create a crowd. I had to make a buzz, which was so difficult at the time. I felt like I was giving CPR to somebody that just washed up on the beach. It was just like, are they going to make it? Is this going to work, or is this just going to die? Because it was touch and go for a long time, and I did lots of different things. I DJ'd on the stage. I had go-go dancers, and then I made it more of a midnight kind of club show where we just did a couple of things, and then we had naked butlers, and then I kind of gradually realised that people wanted more show. They wanted more interaction, and I love my audience because I feel now I love to interact with as many of them as I can. I plan things as much as I can. I plan who's going to be there. I plan what songs I'm going to do. But weird shit always happens. Like, someone will kick themselves in the face, or somebody will fall off the stage, or something. I don't mean act because I have this interaction piece. So there's so many different things, possibilities of things that can go wrong or go right. But either way, it's very spontaneous. I actually loved the Dragon. When the Dragon first opened, like, I was there from its first opening. I had the first cocktail on the night, and I was there, and I loved the crowd, and I loved what it represented, and I loved who it was aimed at. And again, it was just bad timing. Recession hit, and things changed, and kind of lost its direction, and it lost its business, and it lost its customer, and that kind of I miss that, because I miss the original Dragon, and I had lots of really fun gigs there where it just was not meant to be. It was the location was kind of wrong, and the marketing was wrong, and there was lots of elements for it to step up. But I loved what I did there, and I loved my experience of it. But I was just ashamed. It was a shame that it ended so abruptly. There's lots of things coming up that I have. As I said before, I hopefully want to launch a YouTube channel, and I want to really get more into vlogging and kind of like multimedia. I feel like that's where I'm heading. I'd love to make more music. I've been in touch with a lot of producers, and I've done stuff before in the past, but I wasn't serious about it. And to be honest, I wasn't ready to do stuff like that. And I don't expect to be Kylie Minogue, like top of the charts. I do this purely for me and for my buzz, and just because I love to sing. And I only realised that maybe last year that I actually just love singing. Even if I'm awful, I don't care. I just love to sing. And why shouldn't I? So I really want to do that. I'm actually becoming a wedding celebrant as well. So I'm going to be able to marry people, hopefully by the end of the summer. So that's going to be amazing. There's so many crazy gays and straight people out there that would love to have a 7-foot blonde drag queen marry them on their day, because now the Catholic Church is out. It's old hat. Nobody wants that anymore. People want their wedding to be unique to them and personal and different, and they want their friends to talk about it, and they want their friends to remember. So it's a natural progression for me. I love Dublin Pride for the intimacy of Dublin, and how I just love Ireland. I love Dublin. So there's nothing that's going to top my Dublin Pride.